The Great Gatsby, a novel written by F. Scott Fitzgerald about an eccentric millionaire named Jay Gatsby whose confusing love story is told from the eyes of the narrator, Nick Carraway. Using the story, I am going to assign each character: Myrtle the mistress, Nick Carraway the protagonist, the one and only Daisy Buchanan, the infamous Jay Gatsby, the peculiar Jordan Baker, and the polo extraordinaire Tom Buchanan, with a different song that I believe represents them best. I'm going to start with Myrtle Wilson. For her, I chose Gold Digger. Gold Digger is an old school rap song written by Kanye West that critically depicts the disastrous life of a man whose wife uses him for financial gain. She's a gold digger, just like Myrtle Wilson in The Great Gatsby. At first, Myrtle loves her current husband. Myrtle said to her sister that she was crazy for him, but once she saw that he had to borrow a suit on the day of their wedding, she realized he was no gentleman at all. He was only a financially unstable citizen who owns a gas station. Once she laid eyes on Tom Buchanan, though, a very wealthy resident residing in East Egg, she said to herself, "He had on a dress suit and patent leather shoes, and I couldn't keep my eyes off him." The rest is history. Myrtle became Tom's mistress, and when they are first seen together in the novel, her initial request of him is that he buys her a dog. Myrtle's lust of money is developed further when the readers learn that she still stays in her and Tom's secretive relationship despite being physically abused by her so-called lover. The next character is the narrator, Nick Carraway. The song I chose to describe Mr. Carraway is In Too Deep by Genesis. This tune is about a man who thought he knew what he loved, but he was wrong, and now he's watching everything he once cherished be torn apart right in front of him, and he can do nothing about it, similarly to Mr. Carraway. You see, Nick arrived in New York innocent but left guilty as ever. He knew no one in his beginning, aside from Daisy and her husband. All of a sudden, he was invited to one of the lavish parties thrown next door to him, and his life took a 180-degree turn. His neighbor, Gatsby, threw him right smack dab in the middle of the most bizarre love story known to man. Nick, being the nice neighbor he is, assisted Mr. Gatsby and gave him his long-lost lover, Daisy. Everyone was happy. Gatsby was, Daisy was, and Nick watched joyfully from afar. This all changed when there was a meltdown in the city, which led to Daisy becoming irrational and emotionally unstable. Through all this turmoil, Nick observed silently. He watched carefully as Daisy's emotions got the best of her and ultimately led her to murder Myrtle Wilson, and Gatsby took the blame. He watched silently as his dear friend was murdered and framed for a crime he did not commit. He watched everything that was once right go wrong, and he could do or say nothing to make it right. The next song is another from Kanye called Heartless, this time describing Daisy Buchanan. The song is about exactly what it says, a woman being heartless, just like Miss Buchanan at the end of the book. Gatsby gave her everything she ever wanted. He even went as far as to take the blame for the murder that she committed to keep her safe. But she didn't acknowledge all that he did for her. When it came down to it, Daisy did not call, she did not thank Gatsby, she did not attend the funeral that she ultimately caused. She just left him, like every other person in Gatsby's life. Not only did she leave him, but she left him with Tom Buchanan, the rival for Gatsby. She broke Gatsby's heart, and for that she was heartless, for she abandoned the man that she once loved. For Jay Gatsby, I chose the song Whatever It Takes by the Imagine Dragons, and I couldn't think of a better song to describe him with. Because simply, Jay Gatsby did whatever it took to be with his love, Daisy. He searched for her after he was released from the war, and once he found her, bought a house just across the bay from her. He held extravagant parties all the time and hoped that she would once come and they would be reunited. He even went as far as to take the blame for the murder that he did not commit so that his lover would be safe. Jay Gatsby really did do whatever it took, but in the end, it wasn't enough. The next character is Jordan Baker, and the song I chose to describe her with is the Pretty Little Liars theme song. I chose this because the song talks about lies, and this is how I see Miss Baker, as a liar. This is for two reasons. The first is because Nick said during a party Jordan Baker borrowed a car and left the top down in the rain and then lied about it. Not only did she do this, but on another occasion, she lied in her golf tournament. She was accused of initially moving her ball from a bad lie and then went on to deny these accusations, even though they were definitely true. In my eyes, Jordan Baker is a liar. And last but not least, there's Tom Buchanan. For him, I chose This Love by Maroon 5. This song talks about a man who fails to see his relationship is going downhill, but once it hits him, he wants to make things better. This couldn't reflect Tom's situation any better. He thinks his wife and him are fine. He has his mistress, but he also has Daisy. when he doesn't know that Daisy is secretly in pain and turns happy again when she finds Gatsby. Behind Tom's back, like he is doing to her, she is secretly hooking up with Gatsby and planning to get away with him. When confronted about this new relationship and how Daisy apparently doesn't love her husband, Tom is in disbelief. He fails to admit that this might be true and won't let Daisy admit it for him. He doesn't want her to leave, and as you can see from the ending, with a little bit of persuasion, Tom wins his wife over once again.